Welcome to the Texas Authors Institute TV show, produced by Beyond Bourgeois for the Texas Authors Institute of History, Incorporated, copyright 2024. If you would like to become a sponsor of our show and help us produce great content, please email us at texasauthors@outlook.com. If you would like to be on the show as a Texas author, please email us at texasauthors@outlook.com for more information. Music is Frolic of Words, created for Texas Authors Institute by Happy Fellows. Thank you for watching the Texas Authors Institute of History show with your hostess, Rox Burkey.
So thank you for joining and welcome to another edition of the Texas Authors Podcast. I'm here this evening with an absolutely fascinating author, Juan Perez, who has done so many things. I don't know if we're going to have enough time to cover them. So welcome, Juan.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So I think let's just get right into it, Juan. So I want to talk about some of the things that you have done because you have a very rich background. And I think that contributes to some of the books that you've written and some of the things that you've done. So one of the things I noticed is that you have some significant awards that you have won. You won the Authors Guild, you won the Poor Writers Association Diversity Grant. Poetry is in your background. I mean, so all of these things seem to contribute to what you have done from an author perspective. Which one do you feel the most strongly about?
Well, I'm a teacher, so in the classroom, there's certain things that pop up a lot, right? And some of them drive you to put it in words that you're able to explain it to it makes sense about something. Of course, you're talking about all my background as well. I was in the military for 10 years as a medic, and as part of one of my books there, going through the Gulf War. I was a migrant worker. I go to powwows. Those are part of some of my books as well. And I do a little bit of cryptid, the cryptozoology too as well. I actually hold a esoteric degree in the paranormal research. And some of my books are about chupacabras, and some of my books are usually about things that go bump in the night.
I mean, I think that's just terribly exciting. So first of all, thank you for your service. You are much appreciated and respected for doing that for your country. So thank you. So you teach, and that's really important too. So who do you teach? What's your grade level that you focus on?
Well, I'm a certified Texas history teacher. I've taught from 7th grade all the way up to 12th grade. Currently, I'm teaching freshman geography, but I've done other stuff. That was just Texas history, U.S. history, both parts, world history, geography course. I taught courses in Mexican American history as well. And my very first course when I got out of the military, even though I'm pretty sure I wasn't qualified to do, but it was the first time that I knew I got a taste for education, was teaching African American history at a center for incarcerated youth.
Wow, that's fascinating. So, okay, I've got to ask you, between international, U.S. history, and Texas history, which of those is the most fun and exciting?
Well, I like to teach the Constitution, especially about our rights, especially in these times today. But we have to soften the blow a little bit and make them understand that, it goes both ways, and we need to make sure we understand that we have, limited rights and how far we can go, and why rappers can say whatever they want to, the difference of why they have lawyers and we don't have lawyers, kind of stuff like that. So I really enjoy the Constitution when I teach in U.S. history for 8th graders and U.S. history, of course, for 11th graders. And that's my favorite part. But also I like comparing our American Constitution, 1787, or the Mexican Constitution of 1824, and make it relevant to people that come from my background.
Oh, so that's very interesting. So you help migrants that want to come to this country and be citizens and kind of teach them about the history. So
well, those are immigrants. I'm talking about
immigrants,
migrants, but yes, they're migrants
immigrants
and immigrants as well. So yeah, and plus I speak Spanish also. I'm bilingual, so that kind of helps to put me in the classroom for that. But I was a migrant worker myself, traveling from Texas all the way up to Wisconsin, Ohio, and Colorado as a child. And I want to say that I escaped the migrant work by going into the military when I was 18 years old. But there were avenues there. But I do that if my school district tells me that I must do that, and I'm usually the first one to take most of the Spanish speakers, the migrants, the immigrants, as you call them, and as well as the migrants.
So no, and I appreciate you clarifying that for me. I know there's so many terminologies right now. I don't want to get it incorrect. And I think that we have so many wonderful backgrounds in this country. So how did you decide that you wanted to be a writer and an author and kind of get into some of what you've been doing over time? Because you've changed over time as far as what you write.
Yeah, I noticed that too about myself. I've been writing for over 3 decades, to be honest with you. But I first had this taste of writing, although even though she broke my heart, I was writing love poems in junior high to a young lady, and of course I never wound up with the young lady. But I'm not sure if that's me or. Oh, apologies. Okay. Anyway, so I started writing then, but I was also into kind of the esoteric stuff. I was kind of into monsters. I love Godzilla and King Kong, and man, it's such a win that Godzilla, after 70 years, finally got a win. But anyways, so I kind of grew up with that. I was kind of nerdy. I was real tall and lanky and athletic, which didn't really make me a kind of sort of a prospect for a lot of people in high school. But eventually, I filled in a little bit. So, but I started writing then, and I go back and look at those poems because I still got some. I kind of cringe a little bit. But yes, I have evolved during time, and I think it was late '96 when I first published my first poem. So 1996, yeah, last century.
Well, it was all yesterday. It's okay.
Yes, it was.
No, so that's really fascinating that you might evolve in that sort of way. I think that's very important. So of all of the awards that you have garnered to date, which one do you feel the most important to you? And it has made the biggest difference in your writing?
Well, I can't really say that a particular award has, but I did appreciate that the horror writers gave me a grant. That's a prestigious. The HWA is very prestigious, and I appreciate it that actually give me a nod. Say, hey, okay, and it kind of solidifies a little bit. Say, hey, so you are, you're real, we're real. Some people says, when I read, it's like that's kind of crazy, because I do, I do performances as well. So, but I just keep building on that, and as far as part of the evolving itself too is teaching poetry. As a matter of fact, within my classes, like for example, for 9/11, September 9/11, the event, I actually have my kids write a poem about how they feel about it. And they also wrote a poem about Veterans Day. So I try to pick an event once a month to kind of get them writing poetry, even though sometimes they don't like it. Tell me, sir, I don't know how to write it. Can I just write an essay? So sure, you're still writing to me in my mind. So yeah, you can do that too. So I'm learning from them as well what it is, because they're at the age of when I started writing, currently the freshmen, and I was like, I try to say, well, what could I have done different, or do I see potential in these kids? And I told some of the kids they do have a lot of potential, and I push them. So I have evolved into not just writing, but also pushing poetry and pushing those that write poetry forward and put them into contests and things like that.
Well, I think it's very interesting that you would have your students try to express their feelings, because at those age groups, that's probably the most difficult challenge that they have. So that's very brave of you. And it sounds like it's very encouraging for them, because their feelings are real. Whatever they are, they're real feelings.
I'm gonna add one more thing. The worst thing about it is the English teachers get mad at me because I'm a history teacher. So because I'm doing that in my class. But we're all supposed to do something like that. It's just that I have a knack for doing poetry, and I love doing it in my history class, even though it's not, kind of something that they probably English teachers want to do. And they've been trying to convert me to become an English teacher. I said, no, I'm not going through that certification. But anyways, I just thought I'd put that in.
All right. So, I mean, this is very exciting. And I want to touch in our next segment about your latest project. So we're going to come back. We're going to take a listen to our sponsors. So stick around and we'll be right back.
Embark on a literary journey beyond boundaries. Ready to revolutionize your author journey in the metaverse? Top 10 Ways Authors Can Embrace the Metaverse and Prepare for a Metaverse Bookstore is your guide to transforming authorship. Immerse in three-dimensional spaces, host virtual book launches and signings, use augmented reality for interactive book covers, collaborate with metaverse bookstores, create immersive reading experiences, and invest in virtual reality author platforms. Tokenize your creations with blockchain and NFTs, join metaverse writing communities, and stay adaptable to technological advances. Elevate your storytelling and thrive in the metaverse. Get your copy and unlock the future of authorship. Available in print, ebook, and audiobook.
Each and every one of us has a mission in life. Mine is to help people laugh through the good times and the bad. My name is Charlotte Canyon, and I am an author, a speaker, and a host on Indie Beacon Radio. If you need me to speak at an event or autograph my book, you can contact me at charlotte@charlottecanyon.com. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Texas Authors Institute of History is not only a nonprofit museum for Texas authors, TAIH is also a place where authors can learn about publishing and book marketing. Check out our new magazine, the Texas Authors Magazine, available for free at texasauthors.institute today.
Thank you for watching the Texas Authors Institute of History show with your hostess, Rox Burkey.
Welcome back to another edition of Texas Authors Podcast. We're going to continue our conversation with Juan Perez. Juan, thank you so much. I want to kind of dig a little deeper into your current project that's going on, because I think this is very, very telling about some of the direction that you are taking your writing and where you want to go. And so I think that's very important. So your latest project is a horror graphic novel, and I'm going to give it a shot just to see if I can get through this correctly.
Okay.
LaSanta Madre Tamalera. Is that close?
LaSanta Madre Tamalera, yes.
Okay, so you got the right roll on the tongue and I don't. So tell us a little bit about what this is about. And I know it's based in a Mexican-American borough, so let's go. It's got a clever cover. It's fascinating.
Yeah, there's a tamales on top of the scrolls there, but even though the title is in Spanish, it's not all in Spanish. Actually, it's in code switch, and it has a little bit of code switch. And I'm talking about words in Spanish, but majority of it's in English. What it is it's an experiment. It's a renga, which it has a haiku and a couplet. Haiku and a couplet. It's supposed to be a conversation between people. What I did with this was basically flip it and made a conversation in this person's mind, this lady's mind. The book, the graphic novel, the comic book, is basically about this down and out lady with 6 kids, 6 girls, living in the barrio, and she has to deal with things that maybe in affluent places they don't deal with, especially a guy at the door, and eventually winds up to that her thing is that she makes tamales, and she sells tamales. That's how she makes money, and without revealing at the end, there's a particular way that she makes tamales, and very successful for her, but that's the part that makes it the hard.
Well, I'm telling you, tamales is like the biggest secret that ever happens. I'm still trying to get my cousin to give me the recipe for her tamales, and she refuses to do it. It is I think it's just something you either got or you don't got. So who inspired you to write this particular book? Because it is fascinating, because I love tamales. I really do, all kinds.
Well, you might not want to afterwards if you figure it out. But anyways, the thing is this, that when I first learned English, the way I learned English was in 2nd grade. Even though I was born here in the United States and we migrated a lot, my parents were primary English speakers and they were born here as well. I always wanted, since that point, to actually create my own comic book. But I got gifted with poetry, and I was like, poetry, comic books. I have seen a few that have done poems with comic books, right? And some comic books based on poems. But this is different because this is a renga, which is a Japanese style poetry, and it is different. I have not seen anybody do it, so I always wanted to do something different, and created and found a publisher. First of all, they found a artist. The artist is actually in England, was in England, and I guess he was crazy enough to join the project. and we did this book together, and I'm proud of it. Although some people might, have a problem with what happens in the book and how it might happen. And it is adult. This is not meant for kids at all. It is for adults, and it is horror. We have to understand that part. And I tried to respect the human nature itself. But these are things that I saw. Some of the things, not what she did, but some of the things that I saw growing up, that experienced myself. So I wanted to do something like this, but I didn't know how to put it together, and this is how it came together.
So it's very interesting. So is the character, especially the woman that's the focus of the mom who knows how to make interesting food. So is she patterned after someone, or is this totally conjured up in that wonderful?
Can I tell you to save myself philosophy? Maybe, possibility. I never knew for sure.
Okay, so there's some elements that
there's some truth in it. Yes,
I got it. So the audience that you really want to focus on are adults, certainly suitable for Spanish or English speaking individuals. And what do you hope that they glean from it? What's your goal in creating this particular, other than it's unique, which I can totally get into?
Well, first of all, the desire to read, because a lot of people that I know that have my same last name or similar last names don't want to do that. So to get them to read a horror, first of all, story, next of all, something that might, how would I say, entertain them, I guess, because that's what horror movies do for us. If you watch horror movies, unless you just watch one, you'll never watch one again. But it entertains us in a way. And then the other is to put them in a place where it's a possibility, because it's something that they might see, especially in a barrio or wherever they live. So it kind of says it's okay. This might happen here because it's kind of similar to that. But literacy is the important thing. My mom, she never spoke English. Actually, she did speak English at the end of her final days in the nursing home. She had to a few short words. But one of the things with my parents was that education wasn't at the high thing. It was working, because we make money with our hands. So that's mainly who I want to target, is those that don't like to read, but could be reading if they entertain themselves, especially as I use the Renga method, which are short words. You got the haiku part, first of all, 5, 7, 5, right? The syllables, which are very short words. And then, of course, you got the couplet at the end, which is 7 syllables. So it's short enough that it might entertain them or keep them entertained to read it all the way through. There are 666 lines on purpose, in case they see the occult in there too. So it's meant to do that, to help mainly them, but I'm hoping that it also entertains other people that haven't seen the story in this format, number one. Number two, a story perhaps that has the ending that this thing has.
So how many people have actually gotten that you have 666 lines in this and what that means? I've got to know.
Have they gotten it? A lot of people don't care about the poetry part. They want to know, can I tell the story?
Yeah.
And when they read it, they say, okay, you're telling the story, but the way I'm telling the story, they don't realize that it's actually a renga, which is a conversation, the haiku version, or not the Japanese version of a conversation between two individuals. In this case, it's just this individual and a narrator, basically, and the narrator's inside her head, talking about how she's doing things. So, plus I wanted to push myself. I know people don't like doing this, but to put myself in the perspective of one of my aunts or one of my, a female for that, So, and I would challenge myself to that. I know they say, well, a guy shouldn't be writing about a woman, but I didn't exactly do what some people do, but I got to actually my feelings and what I thought she might have been thinking, or what I thought. Now, I'm not saying it's one of my aunts. I'm just saying.
No, I totally understand. So, but the question is, have you had ladies or women read this and find favor with it because you got it right? Do they resonate with it?
I don't know if they tell me if I got it right, but they scared the crap out of them. I know that. Actually, the publisher herself, she's a female, and one of her assistants also is a female. They both liked it, so I'm going, okay, I got something right. So, and I was hoping for that, because that my main publisher is they're but females. So I said, okay, if they're gonna allow me to do this, and okay, it's gonna work. Otherwise, I thought about that too. Like, okay, I wrote it from a different perspective. I wonder what they feel. But they absolutely loved it. It terrified them, but they loved it.
Hey, that's part of the fun is, if they can relate to it in any way, it's like, oh my gosh, my heart just stopped, or, oh my gosh, you've got to read this. You're not going to believe it. I mean, it's got so much good behind it. So that's very interesting. And it's a very unique perspective that you're putting not only on different shades of poetry, but you're not focused on one area. You're focused on the whole, which I think that's remarkable that you would put it together that way. So I think that what I want to do is I want to talk about what your next offering is, because I know you've got another project coming up. And I also want to take a chat when we come back after listening to our sponsors on how people can get you to come talk to them, because I know you're a teacher, you love to talk. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Immerse yourself in the world of audiobooks with Top 10 Reasons Authors Should Create Audiobooks. This guide unlocks key advantages, from expanding your audience reach to ensuring accessibility for all. Dive into multitasking convenience, forge emotional connections, and break language barriers for global appeal. Narrate your own audiobook for a personal touch, explore genre adaptability, and tap into the profitable market. Stay ahead with technological trends and use audiobooks as powerful marketing tools, opening doors to interviews, podcasts, and exposure opportunities. Elevate your authorial journey with the Sonic Revolution. Get your guide to audiobook success now. Available in print, ebook, or audiobook.
Join Texas Creatives on June 1, 2024 in Seguin, Texas for the 3rd Lone Star Festival. It's free to the public and a lot of fun for all types of families. Learn more about the event and who is attending and performing at LoneStarFestival.fun.
Texas Authors Institute of History is not only a nonprofit museum for Texas authors, TAIH is also a place where authors can learn about publishing and book marketing. Check out our new magazine, the Texas Authors Magazine, available for free at texasauthors.institute today.
Thank you for watching the Texas Authors Institute of History show with your hostess, Rox Burkey.
Welcome back to another edition of the Texas Authors Podcast. This has been such a fun conversation with Juan Perez talking about his latest graphic novel. And so I think, again, I want you to say the title correctly, because I won't say it correctly. We just know I don't have the roll on the letters like you do. But I want to also have you suggest where you might be able to read it again for people, because I think that's part of your strength, is you put that emphasis on those words if you're relating it to people. So share that, please.
Yeah. LaSanta Madre Tamalera. And yes, I got a website, juanmperez.com. You can reach me on Facebook. I'll be the one, since my name is so common, apparently, is what I'm told. I'm the one who also has Johnny Goat Killer in reference to the Chupacabra stuff. So I have Juan Manuel Perez, Johnny Goat Killer, on the Facebook. You can get me there. The book, LaSanta Madre Tamalera, is actually available through Nash and Teeth Publishing. And the publishers are actually in Arkansas. It's available to them. Or you can just go through my website where it says chapbooks and books and chapbooks. You can punch it there and it goes right to the links are all there. I've already put the links in there, and I specifically put my books on my on the website, because when you go look at Amazon, there'll be other Juan Perez popping up. So I want to make sure you know which are my books, because there's other people around the world with this name, and I know sometimes my name doesn't particularly roll really good off the tongue either, Juan Manuel Perez, but Juan will do. That was easy for you. So, but yeah, those books are available there. Let's see what did I forget. Again,
And I think the artwork by Paul
yeah.
Portejon is just fascinating, because it certainly has some imagery that has to do with, a little bit of death going on, a little bit of fun going on, and then the food. I mean, the food is so clear. He did an excellent job on doing this. So it does have kind of a scary thing, but until you recognize exactly where the knife is in the book cover, it's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And that's not exactly grease coming out of there either. So
No, no, it's really not. So how many pages is this?
this is what, 68 pages. Paul, we actually went through, I think three, there might have been more, I don't know. We were looking for that particular look, and it was to harken back to the Warren magazines like Creepy, Vampirella, Cousin Eerie. Those, I wanted to harken back to kind of that part. But Paul's actually in England, so Paul didn't know me, so I guess he said, "Hey, I'll do it," because I don't know who Juan is. So we kind of got him, but he did an excellent job. He actually represented what I wanted to convey as far as how it looks. Yeah, it looks creepy. It's black and white, and I wanted to harken back to those times where, and there's other magazines that do it now, like Shudder and what's the Carmilla, but those are new magazines that they're doing what Warren did in the 60s and 70s. So I wanted something like that, because that's the books that when I would go to a store when I was a kid, I would look at. I was not allowed to buy them for a lot of reasons. We didn't have money. That was the main reason they told me. But anyways, but I did read them anyways. And then now I've collected all of them basically. And again, it goes back to me reading comic book. Batman was my first English word, and I wanted to recreate that love of comic books and horror and put it in my gift of poetry all together in one bundle, and to have the right artist. And for right now, Paul's the correct artist for me.
I think it's excellent. Truly. I mean, juanmperez.com is a great place to go and get a whole view of what you have going on. And hopefully we can see you at some local venues. And hopefully you'll announce that in your social media. You're on Facebook and you're on X. So any last words for our audience, Juan?
No, I want people to read this with an open mind and not be scared. If you're gonna hate me, that's fine. At least I made an emotion in you. I always say my poetry has to have some kind of emotion, whether you love it or hate it, but tell me why. You know, what is it you didn't hate? And I got four other stories and plans for the future, and eventually I guess develop into a large volume of graphic, but it's gonna take a while. It is poetry, first of all. It is not just a story that just came up. You have to make it fit the parameters and the things that I needed to do, and that's what I'm trying to do now. In the meantime, though, I do have another. This is indigenous futurism, Chicano futurism book coming out sometime this year. We're just waiting to get all the details ironed up. They already have my stuff. I already did what I needed to do, and hopefully I can have it in time for Seguin.
Oh my gosh, that'd be fantastic. That's in June the 1st, as I recall. Look forward to seeing you in Seguin, because I will be there as well. And thank you so much for spending your time with us tonight. Have a great evening.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome to the Texas Authors Institute TV show, produced by Beyond Bourgeois for the Texas Authors Institute of History, Incorporated, copyright 2024. If you would like to become a sponsor of our show and help us produce great content, please email us at texasauthors@outlook.com. If you would like to be on the show as a Texas author, please email us at texasauthors@outlook.com for more information. Music is Frolic of Words, created for Texas Authors Institute by Happy